Powered by the Montana Television Network. This is the 530 News on Q2, Montana's news leader.
Good evening and thanks for joining us. I'm Russ Riesinger. Janelle has the night off. A team, a town, a state rallying around a high school football player seriously injured in an accident. Scott Breen joining us now to tell us more about this emotional story. Scott?
Right, Russ. 2 weeks ago, a truck that Powell starting quarterback Ethan Asher was driving rolled outside of his hometown down in Wyoming. He's still here in a Billings hospital fighting to live. Q2's Brandon Sullivan shows us how his family and his teammates and community are forging forward on his behalf.
KTVQ Sports proudly presents Powell Panther football. Tonight's game
Powell Panthers trying to regroup and rebound after the injury to their starting quarterback, Ethan Asher, who is still recovering, as the Panthers will try to play and win without their starting quarterback. A couple have stepped in, though, including Landon Langfelder.
It's been a tough week and a half, I know, for the whole team. Ethan really had an impact on everyone around him, and he was one of my best friends, and I didn't even know him for very long. He was an important part of this community, and everyone around him loved him, and I just didn't know why Ethan had to go through something like that.
It was Tuesday, August 27th, and the second day of senior year for Ethan Asher. As he made his way to school, Ethan's truck drifted just off the right shoulder. He overcorrected. His truck rolled 3 times. Ethan was not wearing his seatbelt and was ejected from the truck. Emergency responders were able to stabilize Ethan before he was life-flighted to the Billings Clinic. He had a broken clavicle, broken ribs, a tear in his aorta, head and brain trauma, and a severed spinal cord. Despite his injuries, he survived.
Ethan was a guy that was honest. He was an incredible leader, and he was someone that all the guys rallied behind. When Ethan was going somewhere, he had guys following him. And as our quarterback, he was really what you wanted because he was out to make everyone better.
As Ethan was fighting for his life, the Powell Panthers were fighting for the courage to move forward, fighting for a purpose to carry on the legacy and spirit of a fallen teammate.
People are looking around a little bit and they're wondering, what next? What do we do? But we all knew what Ethan would want us to do, and that is to keep going and keep pushing, because his life was football and he loved it. He was a great competitor, and we know that he'd want us to keep going hard for him.
4 days after the accident, doctors were able to fuse Ethan's spinal cord and realign it to near perfection, and the Ashers began seeing movement in his legs and feet. As his condition improved, the Panthers' first game in front of their home fans inched closer. Shouldering the weight of winning was heavy, and no one knew that feeling more than Ethan's parents, who had written a stirring message for the team.
Don't just play for Ethan. Play for the win. Play for the title. But most of all, play for the brothers standing next to you and for the one that cannot. Don't quit. Don't stop. Now bring it.
It said go for the win.
Let's get it up, guys.
Play for each other, play for the brotherhood. And that allowed our boys, I think, the confidence to say, yeah, it's okay to go out there and play hard and do what we love to do, and that's to play football. It doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense at all. But as hard as that is, it's not meant to make sense. But just to continue to trust and know that things are for a reason, and I think that that's what helps so many people drive on.
All right, hey, let's go now. Let's go, baby. Every day you don't know what it's going to bring, but I do know that there is a plan, and his plan is good. Touch!
Abraham out of the I formation. Langfelder turns, hands it off to Abraham. Abraham breaks the tackle, breaks another tackle, into the end zone. Touchdown Panthers! 22-yard carry by Cade Navy.
I just think that he's always on the field with us, mentally, not physically yet, but he's definitely out there with us, and I was just so happy and just loved holding his jersey.
On this night, the Powell community raised over $30,000 for Ethan and his family. A week earlier, 160 miles south of Powell, the town of Riverton raised more than $6,000 for the Ashers. And the list goes on. Parents and players from around the state and country are offering and giving their support for someone most of them have never met. And at the heart of it is a family with incredible faith, strength, and love.
I can't imagine going through something like this, and to see how they've responded, his family, his mom and dad, is truly incredible.
We know life itself is always bigger than football or any other sport. But oftentimes, when those two worlds collide, it creates moments, memories, and miracles that are never forgotten. Andy and Tiffany Asher believe this is one of those moments, and Ethan is one of those miracles. Brandon Sullivan, MTN News.
Yeah, now, Russ, doctors say that he fractured his T9, T10 vertebrae, all right? So that brings to mind a story that we did earlier this summer with J.R. Vizane, the Melstone Cowboy, right? Fractured right about that same area. J.R. says right behind his belly button. He lives in Melstone now, but he's from Cali, right next door to Powell down there. The Vizanes have already reached out to Ethan and his family, wishing him support and offering to do whatever they can to help. So if you think about that Wyoming connection there, town's just separated by a handful of miles, you know, and two injuries that are nearly identical there. So we certainly wish him the best.
Yeah, we certainly do. Our thoughts are with him. Thank you, Scott. Well, in other news, pretty much everyone in the Q2 viewing area saw rain yesterday, but some folks woke up to a preview of winter this morning. Q2's Rob Griggs has more.
Wow, what a beautiful morning today. We woke up to blue skies crowning the snow-covered Beartooth Mountains. Kelsey Borge with Red Lodge Mountain says it was pretty exciting for everyone up there.
You know, yesterday we had rain all day, and it was dreary and cold, and then this morning we woke up to bright blue skies and a snow-covered hill. That's always exciting for the upcoming season.
And although we have 75 days before opening day, which is the Friday after Thanksgiving, Borge says you got to live in the moment.
Oh, it's never too early to start thinking about ski season.
Our snow levels dropped to around 7,500 to 8,000 feet, temporarily closing portions of US 212. Now, at the moment, the Beartooth Pass is open across the top and into Wyoming, but as we all know, it's a day-to-day situation depending on the weather. Well, now that we've officially had our first summer snow in the mountains, Bob McGuire says summer temperatures are going to return. In Billings, Rob Griggs, MTN News.
All right, thanks, Rob. Well, snow up there, Bob, but a lot of rain down here yesterday. How much did we end up getting?
In the Billings area, it was 0.89 inches, but a lot of places did a whole lot better than that. Let me show you. Here's a good picture. This comes to us from Kaiser Lee, Colleen. Actually, I like to call her Colleen Kaiser Lee. And you'll notice it says 3 inches of rain in that rain gauge. Yeah, this is over there by Glendive. And take a look at some of the other places that picked up a little more rain. This is over by Sydney, looking at 3.54 inches. Forsyth, over 3 inches of rainfall. Normally you'd think that'd be like snowfall. No, this is rainfall. Red Lodge Grass had 2.56 inches. Miles City, 2.48. And here in the Billings area, we wound up with 0.89 inches of rainfall out of that. Now it looks like when things are going to dry up a little bit, we do have a slight chance for some rain moving in probably sometime Friday night because we have another cold front moving through, but we're going to be the tail end of that system, so not much there for us to get. We'll have more on that in a few more minutes. Russ?
All right, thank you, Bob. Well, fish biologists recently discovered a large fish die-off along a section of the Clark Fork River west of Butte and Anaconda. MTN's John Amy tells us what experts believe caused that fish kill.
A large fish kill recently discovered on the Clark Fork River west of Anaconda shows old mining contamination along the banks is still getting into the water.
Because the tailings are there and we have major rainstorms, they will wash into the water until everything is completely restored from top to bottom.
Heavy metals from the mining operations in Butte over a century ago have settled into the floodplain area along the Clark Fork River, and recent heavy rains pushed the contamination into the river between Warm Springs and Galen.
And these storms that we've had that are, as my grandmother would call them, gully washers, they're hard to manage, and stormwater is always going to be an issue for us.
The Clark Fork Basin is in the process of a multi-million-dollar cleanup between Butte and Missoula. The area along the river where the fish kill happened is still awaiting restoration.
The thing about this recent fish kill is it is fairly short-lived in that it happened quick. Some of the fish were killed, and then it looks like it's discharged out. And then when the biologists went back later, the fish were surviving in that area.
The cleanup along the Clark Fork River Basin is being done in sections, sort of a patchwork project, if you will. And until the full remediation project is complete, there could be more fish kills.
You know, until the tailings are removed from the entire floodplain of the Clark Fork, we probably will have additional fish kills unless we go and do some Band-Aid approaches while we're cleaning up.
In Galen, John Amy, MTN News.
Well, biologists say the current fish population in the Clark Fork is only about 20% of what it should be. There's more news from across our state on the MTN 9 o'clock news tonight. A service dog stolen a couple of weeks ago is back together with its owner. We're going to show you that happy reunion. That's tonight at 9 on the CW. But first, on tonight's 5:30 news, Miss Montana was built to serve, and she's making up for lost time. Find out where the historic plane is going next.
You're watching MTN News with Janelle Slade and Russ Riesinger. Storm Tracker weather with Bob McGuire. And sports with Scott Green. This is the 5:30 news on Q2, Montana's news leader.